Warning, the following episode is going to contain hijinks, phenomenal music, and may make you stop your car on the side of the road. InObscuria.
Welcome back, my friends, to the InObscuria podcast, a podcast where we exhume obscure rock and punk and metal, and we put them in one of three categories: the lost, the forgotten, or the should-have-beens. I am Kevin Williams. That is Robert Harrison.
About 60% right now.
And we have a lot to talk about because you had a lot going on last weekend.
It was a long weekend, and it just kept going. It has not stopped.
Okay, well, I've got nothing. Do you want to hear my Valentine's story?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Okay.
You
ready for this?
Married life of 20, how many years? 20?
21.
21 years.
Almost 22.
Yeah.
You want to hear how that works out?
Yeah, how romantic. You get her some flowers,
I did.
cook her dinner.
I did. No, we didn't do any cooking.
Yeah.
We ordered.
I thought you make her a baked potato with chili.
We ordered in.
Oh, you
and I was fast asleep by 10 o'clock.
Just like give her a high five on the way to bed. Like, hey, there you go, honey. Bam, high five.
I didn't even know she went to bed. We were laying in the bed watching something, and she said she looked over, and I was out
snoring solid wood.
That's how we do it now.
Yeah,
I have a feeling you have a different story.
Yeah, it was. So Friday night was a Valentine's party. Let's just leave it at that. It was a Valentine's party. It had a name.
You posted some pictures.
Yeah,
so
I did.
People can go look.
I posted the PG stuff, and it was fun. We had, I don't know, somewhere around 75 people in my home, and let me tell you, if you exclude me, it was the best looking crowd I've ever had in my house at one time. Everybody looked good. I mean, it was just, everybody's dressed up, and it was not just like going out attire. It was going someplace really special attire.
Really special.
And so everybody looked great.
Someplace salacious.
Yeah, so as you walked in, they had a fog machine. You entered through like my patio area on the side, a little garden area where the old fire truck sits outside. You entered through that gate, and they had curtains. They brought in, there's a fog machine and lighting, and Jennifer was in a tub with fire bubbles.
And that's what you have a picture of.
She was doing these bubbles, and they were fire bubbles or something like that.
She would light them on
fire.
And that
was your first impression as you walked in. And then they would take your name because it was a sold-out event, so we had security making sure people weren't sneaking in. And so that started it. And then there was a still, like a moonshine still, but it was just a still in my kitchen on my stove distilling beverages. Probably not legal to
I didn't
do that.
see that when I came in tonight.
Yeah, no, it left again.
It left.
Yeah, because I don't know who's going to pop in. You know, we can't just leave that sitting. I have to cook dinner, man.
Damn it.
And then let's see, there was my friend, amazing DJ, doing a great job, just chill vibe, not like, it was just real chill, spooky vibes. They brought in probably 300 candles. They're LED candles because fire hazard, but you know, I'm concerned about, I don't like fire, you know, it's dangerous, it scares you.
Right.
But yeah, so they had all that out. They had a snake, somebody's pet snake, a python.
And the dog did not eat the snake.
No, Dio didn't give a shit. He didn't care. Let's see, upstairs they had in the speakeasy, they had an actual tattoo artist.
Okay.
Giving tattoos on site.
Where's your tattoo, sir?
Oh, pull down my pants. I was busy. I had stuff to do. Didn't have time to sit there and get poked with a needle.
People did, though. So people got tattoos.
All these years, 0 tattoos. I don't know why. I can never think of a good one to get. I know I always, in 5 years, I'm going to regret it because I'm going to think it's funny, and then 5 years later, I'm going to like, that's the stupidest thing.
The first thing I did when I got here this evening, I looked at your neck. I just knew you were going to have a full neck tattoo.
You know, at some point, I'm going to go, screw it. I don't care. I still have some things I would like to accomplish that require me to be respectable. Appearing.
Right.
Let's see. Then they had a tarot reader.
Well, wait. Before you move on from the tattoo artist, how many people actually got tattoos?
Every time
I was busy the whole time.
Yeah. She was busy the whole time. And she was working until I think about 1 o'clock in the morning. I was like, you know what? You can knock off if you want to. That's enough.
Wow.
So then we had shibari, which is the Japanese art of tying people up in.
I love their pizza.
Yeah, isn't it good? The garlic sauce on the side. That's Chinese food. What are you talking about? That's Sbarro. Yeah, that's
is that something
Sbarro,
different?
yeah. So they were doing that, and it's just they do these really beautiful knots, which I can't tie a knot to save my life. I depend on ratchet straps, and so far that's not looked at as an art. To tie somebody up in ratchet, that's kind of redneck.
Could be.
Yeah, I may have to just work on that a little bit. There was a bar upstairs and downstairs. There was a model wearing nothing but dessert downstairs. And then there was another model it had been body painted, and she was serving desserts walking around.
Ooh.
And so the doctor said I was in a diabetic coma for 3 days. 3 days.
Yeah,
It was. I don't remember the last part of the party, not from alcohol. Just it was a sugar buzz.
Robert, you keep taking desserts from the same location every time.
Yeah, imagine it's like the operation game. When I went for certain ones, you hear no.
You did that last time.
Yeah. Let's see what else. I'm missing half the stuff. So anyway, this is just part of what was going on at the party. It was great, and everybody's very well behaved and had a good time. And that was Friday night.
Sounds like there's an interpretation though of what well behaved is at this party.
Nobody got kicked out. I did not kick out anybody, and that's happened before, and that's kind of fun.
But nobody got too rowdy.
No.
Okay.
It was a great party. So people come back the next day to clean up. It was that big of a party that by 2:00 in the morning, I'm like, look, it's cool. We can just do this at a later date. Just turn off the lights and we're good.
Just tell the dessert girl to stay.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, I let Dio out of the basement, and he goes upstairs and cleans up anything that's on the floor. So he has the best time because he's just wound up and the biggest Hoover, just licking the whole floor clean. They come back the next day, and then Sunday, we did flamenco and paella. I posted some of that too. So we had another 60 people seated for the flamenco show where there's live musicians. My friend Anya, we've mentioned her many times.
Swing, swing, temple. She's a babe.
She does the show, and then there's 2 Spaniards, actual Spaniards, outside cooking seafood and just pork and chicken paella, 2 different versions of these 4-foot wide wok-looking things. And it's like a boat paddle they're stirring it with.
Dishes,
Yeah, I guess that's what they are. So they cook that, and you can smell it a mile away. I mean, it's just
every animal in this neighborhood was just going nuts.
Squirrels were, just waiting
jumping
for
out
me.
of trees.
So we did that, and then Monday, once again, kind of cleaning up, resting, took the day off from whatever I normally do, and my busy.
Did you ask your boss?
Yeah, I asked my boss.
Good,
I'm like,
you cleared it.
Yeah,
with the
I actually
boss.
did wake up like 8 or 9 o'clock, ate breakfast, had a cup of coffee, and then took a nap.
Oh man,
And that was my morning.
I can't imagine.
I wore myself out getting breakfast, and then took a little nap. But then today,
I want your life.
well, today my friend Kara lives about a mile away. She texts me. She says, "Hey, my neighbors across the street are getting a divorce, and they're moving, and they're giving away stuff. You need to come over and check this out." So, and it's like 5,800 square foot house, and so we go over there, knock on the door, and the lady answers the door, and she's like, "Yeah, just come walk through. You know what? We sold some stuff, but the rest of the stuff I just need to get rid of." And she's like, "I've got to go meet somebody for something. You guys just lock the door on your way out, but just walk through, take whatever you want."
Wow.
And so we look at each other like, okay, and she leaves. And so I grabbed, as you see over there, a PA system.
Okay, yes,
It's
and a
practically
mandolin.
brand new, and a mandolin, and then some furniture for the art studios. And
Nice.
then my friend Karen and I are standing there looking at their bar in the basement that's fully stocked. And we're like,
Who are these people?
Well, then we had to debate. We're like, did she mean everything?
Yeah.
Surely they're
You
going
don't
to
take
come back.
somebody's booze.
But I came close because it was like some Elijah Craig and Craig. I guess that's how you say it. Craig. Yeah, that's it. Craig. Elisha Craig. But yeah, I did not take her booze. So then after that, Kara and I went over to the church I purchased. I wanted to show her around. She hadn't seen all of it. And so we went inside the big building that's not being used. It was their dining hall kind of, and it's empty except for just some furniture, things like that.
When do you think they last used that thing?
Oh, I know. It was 2 years ago because I was there. They invited me over for their like annual cover dish luncheon.
Oh boy.
And I had been there several times before that, like 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, there was this long table.
Big spread.
One end to the other. Casseroles,
All
fried chicken.
grandmas.
Oh my
my
God.
Southern grandmas.
So good. Just everybody's grandma. It was their cooking, you know. So it slowly dwindled over the years. And 2 years ago, it was kind of sad, but it was about half.
Pack of of Oreos.
And like, well, no, it was like 6 women managed to fill half that table.
Oh, wow.
And so it was still good, but that was the last time. So I'm showing her around. It's got tables and chairs and a bunch of other stuff that I've thrown in there for storage. And I had my dog,
Ronnie James DOG,
with me. He was on a leash and he was kind of acting up. And I'm like, here, just run free because we're inside this building. I don't have to worry about you running away or wandering or going to Publix.
Right.
Like he always does.
Because you're there.
Because I'm there. Yeah. So he's running around and all of a sudden he's quiet. And just like parents with kids, that's when you start paying attention. Like, wait a minute, it's quiet. And I hear crunch, crunch. And I run over and he's got a squirrel in his mouth inside the building. Squirrel. I'm like, you son of a, but I can't be mad at him. He caught something that shouldn't be there. So I'm pretty sure it might have been dead before he caught it. But I can't tell because he was chomping on it, like just full on
bones and
crunch.
The gooey center.
Ew. So that was my day. I was having to go clean up squirrel carcass from inside the church.
Wow.
The day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. It was a fight for survival that broke out in revival. They were jumping pews and shouting hallelujah. The day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church.
Well, after you have squirrel for dinner, go listen to Pot of Thunder, Cobras and Fire, Growing Up Rock, Slamfest Podcast, Decibel Geek, A to Z Radio, Metal Up Your Podcast, The Hustle, Disciples of the Watch, Podcast Rock City, Sean Geek and Fast Fret Podcast, State of Amorica, Rock Strikes 10, Potter Than Hell, Shout It Out Loudcast, The Kiss Room, Ages of Rock, Retro Zest Podcast, and don't forget about Monty.
Hey, this is Monty Colvin from Galactic Cowboys and Monty's Rockcast, and you are listening to the amazing InObscuria podcast. Rock on!
Monty's Rockcast, and I just want to make a note. We've been talking about Galactic Cowboys in the studio making their next album, and unfortunately this week they lost their drummer.
Oh, man.
Johnny Simmons was his name. He used to be in a band called Atomic Opera, which was managed by the same person that used to manage Galactic Cowboys and King's X back in the day. And he had just joined the band back, I don't know, several months ago. They had been looking for a new drummer, and they got Johnny to do it. And unfortunately, Johnny passed away. So
it's still part of the family, kind of.
Yeah, it was always part of the family.
Extended family.
Thoughts and prayers with Galactic Cowboys. You guys just take your time and
absolutely
we'll get back to the album whenever.
You do what you need to do right now, but looking forward to hearing that when it comes out.
Yeah. So come visit us in InObscuria.com. Like us, share us, Facebook, X, Instagram. And guess what? We're going somewhere in April.
Oh, well.
You should come
Road
join
trip?
us. Where, you're asking? Where should I go join you? Well, how about here?
Do you love it loud? Come to Rockin' Pod Weekend in Nashville. Rock convention featuring panels, interviews, podcasts, signing sessions, vinyl, pop culture collectibles, and more. Over 30 celebrity guests, members of LA Guns, Accept, Kicks, and more. Live concerts, Nashville Rockin' Fest Thursday, Rare Hair on Friday, Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts Saturday, Punchlines and Backlines All-Star Comedy Show on Sunday. Full details at rockinpod.com.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. We know what that means.
We know what that means. If you don't know what that means, you'll find out later.
Yeah, tough.
Yeah.
Stick around.
And there might be something else there at Rockin' Pod. Oh. What do we know?
Who might be there, you mean?
Oh, a certain who.
Yeah.
That's right. Come visit the Mighty K Kissing Booth.
And get past Double Barrel Daryl to get to the booth.
If you can get past Double Barrel Daryl, then
good luck.
It's not going to happen. He's going to punch you right in the kisser. So you got to kiss.
That's the fun for us to watch, though. That's our entertainment, is watching people trying to get past him to get to Chris.
Yes, so many questions we have for Daryl when we meet him.
What kind of mileage do you get on the snowmobile?
Good one. Yeah.
4?
I don't know.
Can't be economical.
It's going to suck driving that thing down in April.
Wind burnt. Do they make a cab for it, like with a windshield wiper and everything?
We'll have to ask.
Yeah,
so many questions. Like I said,
this Florida man needs to know about these. I've actually driven a snow machine. Some people call them
a snow cat.
No, that's different. That's got a cab. It's got a heater.
Yeah. I've been in one of those. That's nice.
Yeah, that's my style. But I have been on the snowmobile or snow machine, and it was...
What's a snow machine?
Snow machine is a snowmobile. People live in Alaska, like Sarah Palin. They call it a snow machine.
Okay. I've never heard that.
I didn't know it until she was on the scene for a while.
Oh.
She talked about...
What happened to that crazy lady?
Was she imprisoned for something?
I don't know. I have no idea what happened
Committed?
to her. I don't know. She's probably out now.
She was cute, but at the same time, much like a lot of the people I've dated. Cute, but holy crap, just shut your mouth. Shh, shh, less talky.
Oh, man. Well, let's get into this week's topic, shall we? Last week, all of that talk about doppelgangers, man, it had me looking around, and I was kind of on high alert, looking in the shadows, and so I figured...
following you.
I know, it creeped me out a little bit. Exactly. Don't do that. Creep me out a little bit. So I figured the universe and
those cats, they're stalking you.
Well,
they're plotting your demise.
Could be them plus the universe plus terrifying fear telling us that we should stay on point this week. So I'm going to bring to you the third time we're doing this. It's a brand new series we started last year, and this is the third one, episode 271, In the Shadow of... Who could it be? Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just Alice in Chains.
Nice. We did not practice that.
Oh, yes. So in this series, if you remember, we explore bands and artists that have similar vibes to this mainstream huge artist, this time being Alice in Chains. We've done Muse. We've done Typo Negative. Now we're moving on to Alice in Chains. And so all the bands we're going to play kind of have that thing that makes Alice in Chains so unique. They kind of have a little bit of that. So they may share the same sonic landscape. Their songwriting or playing styles may be sympatico. But again, it's not about copycats. It's not about somebody that was a cover band and now they're writing their own material and trying to be the same thing. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about bands that obviously are influenced by Alice in Chains and have some kind of connection to their music or a similar vibe. Cool?
Cool.
All right. Now, before we move any more forward, we must get the blessings from the one and the only Ministry of Diabolica.
I am Captain
Anton.
And this is my faithful companion,
Mighty K.
Say hello.
And now let's kick it back on over to
Mighty K.
for our 5-day weather forecast.
Mighty K. Holy banana hammocks. The weather is shit-tacular again. I'm driving in craziness. It's a 55-mile-an-hour road, and I'm doing 40 for friggin' A. And we're getting more. I think Sunday we're getting a huge storm. Excuse me again. I am so over this shit. I can't even explain the amount of over I have of it. Holy God, I'm so tired of wearing a hat and gloves and a heavy coat and heavy boots. You guys, I miss living down there. I love the intro. Good start to an awesome show. Great start to an awesome show. It's better to be loose and fancy-free than tight and ticklish.
Hello.
Okay.
Getting
all right.
Risque at the end of that.
I'm not sure where she's going there at the end, but sounds like she agrees with what we're doing. So
come to my party.
Apparently. Yeah, she mentioned that. And then also, sucks where you live.
Exactly. Well, we don't live there.
That's why we're not there. That must suck.
She talks about wants to move back down south, but she does not have a Carolina accent.
20 years in North Carolina, and that's what she sounds like.
Did not pick up any of that Carolina accent at all.
No, I'm from around that area. That is not what we sound like.
Yeah, she's not native to the area. Let's just put it that way. But she developed the thin-bloodedness that we have, that we can't tolerate cold weather.
It happens
either.
to so many people who move down from the north.
They're tough bastards until they spend about 5 or 6 years there.
Then it gets 60 degrees and they're like, oh, it's so cold.
They sound just like us. Or me.
All right, so let's get into Alice in Chains, shall we? So I'm just going to give a little bit of my background with them, and then I would love to hear from you as well. So the band first came onto my radar before I knew what grunge or alternative were. I thought of them as a metal band, somewhere between Sabbath and the hair bands, which by our definition, that makes them an in-betweener officially. Of course, we coined the phrase, so we can call them anything we want.
Damn right.
Yeah. But I saw the Man in a Box video in 1991. I remember well because, again, I didn't have MTV growing up, but when I would visit relatives, I was able to watch MTV, and I happened to be on spring break at my aunt's house, and I remember watching videos, and Man in a Box came on, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but next week it'll be in my possession. And it was. I bought the tape, and I got every Alice in Chains album after that on release day. I have been hooked by this band since the first single that I ever heard. And I learned how to sing harmonies by blasting dirt on road trips when I was in college. I remember I lived about 2.5 hours from my college, and when I would go home, I would just blast music. I drove by myself, and I just remember putting the cassette tape in, and that is how I learned how to sing. I was in bands prior to that, but I did not sing backup because I always had trouble playing and singing.
Oh, yes. If you don't learn it at the same time, it's going to be
really
challenging.
tough. It's really tough. And I played multiple instruments, so that made it even harder because, just trying to do different things. But it was dirt that kind of taught me how to harmonize, and the harmonies that they do are so interesting. So that's how I learned how to sing. And then while I was in college, Ozzy Osbourne did his No More Tours tour.
I remember that. Sure. Yeah. That was in 1990.
92.
About 8 more tours after that Ozzy lying piece of crap.
Alice in Chains were the opening band. There was 3 bands on the bill. Alice in Chains had the middle slot. Sepultura were the openers. So Sepultura,
the
Brazilian metal thrash
metal.
band. And so I met those guys. They couldn't speak a lick of English. It was hilarious.
Oh, you met Sepultura?
Oh yeah, I met Sepultura. I had dinner with them.
Oh, see, I could have been your translator.
Oh, okay.
Este mi amigo, Kevin.
Just hold your wad there, fella.
Well, they speak Portuguese.
Oh, that's right. Damn it. Brazil. That's the other country that does that.
Right.
No, because I've got guys that install tile. Great tile guys. I've used them for 15 years. And still to this day, I walk and just start blathering off in Espanol, and they just look at me like, dumbass.
Like, dude, we speak Portuguese.
Yeah. Thankfully,
but it's very similar.
They are smart, and they also speak Spanish. So we meet in the middle. Like, both of us have very horrible Spanish.
Spanglish.
We can, at least communicate somewhat.
Yeah. So I happened to work the No More Tours show as a stagehand. I signed up to be a stagehand, and I get there in the morning. There were 2 crews. One crew did the grid, what they call the grid, which is laying all the flooring for the stage itself and the trusses and all that stuff. I worked this stage crew, so that means that all of the instruments and backline, all that stuff, haul out of the truck and put it on stage and do whatever I'm told. And the guy goes, any drummers here in the group of you? And I raised my hand. And so I got to work with Randy Castillo's
drum tech
and his drum tech all day, and I shined cymbals and put the cymbals on the drums and everything, and it was a super cool blue lightning bolt kit. Amazing. So cool. But because of that, I didn't have to do quite all the sweat that everybody else was doing with the hauling.
The technical things.
Exactly.
Look at you.
And so I got a chance to kind of talk to people, and I started talking to this guy, and he happened to be Jerry Cantrell's guitar tech. And I was just talking to him, and I was telling him how much I love Dirt. It was just out. I mean, think about that. Dirt had just come out. And he goes, you want to see Jerry's guitars? I'm like, yes, I do. And he took me over to show me Jerry's guitars, and they're not that impressive looking. They're kind of ugly. And he goes, looks like a piece of shit, right? I'm like, it kind of does. He's like, yeah, I know. He's like, he's been playing that forever. Yeah. It's this really ugly guitar.
I've actually seen him talk about that in an interview.
Yeah. And he still plays it, I believe. But I got to talk to that guy for so long that eventually Jerry comes out, and I got to meet Jerry Cantrell. And just the nicest dude. Yeah. I didn't get to meet Lane. But that night, what they do is if you work the stage crew at night, you're security. So they give you two T-shirts, one that says road crew or stage crew.
We are the road crew.
Then you get another T-shirt that says security.
Because you were sweaty as hell by then. They're like, dude, you need to change
put
shirts.
this one on and then go stand out somewhere and make sure nobody does anything stupid. And so Alice in Chains comes on stage after Sepultura leaves, and Lane happened to be in a cast. He had broken his foot or something, and he was in a cast. He came out in a wheelchair, and
like Dave Grohl style.
Yeah, and he, he's Lane, so he was probably fucked up. And so at one point he thought, you know what, I'm going to climb the lighting truss.
With a cast.
With a cast on, because that's smart. And that's what he did. And we had all the calls like, get down here right now. If this guy falls, you guys got to catch him.
You sacrifice your body.
Right.
You are the landing pad.
So we were all down there watching him climb the lighting truss. He got down on his own. He did fine.
Okay, yeah. And, professional.
He was totally professional. Fucked up, probably.
Professional fuck up. Yes. I strive to be that.
But that was my that was my Alice in Chains story. I didn't get to meet the band other than Jerry, but man, that was so cool. Just so cool. What's your history with Alice in Chains?
Fuck you. You just start off with that, and then you hand it to me. I'm like, I bought their CD.
Well,
I really liked them. Got nothing. So you went up to me on that by about 500.
But when did you get into them? Was it first album, second album?
What was the first album?
First album was Facelift, Man in the Box.
I heard that on the radio and then bought the next one, Jar of Flies.
No, you bought Dirt,
and then Jar of Flies. So I was a little late to the game, which is normal for me because, once again, in North Florida, it was like a time warp. We were about a year behind everybody. But Man in the Box on the radio.
Man in a Box.
Man in the
I think I said the box, but I think
it was a box. It was a specific
it's
box.
A box.
He was very specifically in that box.
Yes.
And so I'm also famous for once mispronouncing their name.
Most men want to be in a box.
Yeah.
Good, baby. Very good.
You are a sexist pig.
That box, or that box, or those boxes sometimes.
Anyway, sorry.
So yeah, my claim to fame is I mispronounced their name one time.
Mm-hmm.
Once.
Yep.
And I will forever be known for mispronouncing their name. And that's my story.
Alice in Chains.
Yeah. But I also listened to them driving. By then, I think it was my senior year in college, about 93, bought both those CDs. I've never owned the first one. I need to go back and check that out. I just realized I never owned it. But yeah, drove back and forth from Daytona to my hometown of Fort Walton Beach. Long ass drive. And had the first couple of trips, it was still in my Camaro. It lasted through college into my first job. And it was on its last legs. So I had the CD player on the passenger seat.
Oh, yes,
with
the portable, right?
Yeah, with a cassette thing in there, adapter.
Yeah, the adapter.
But then it was probably about 6 months later, I bought my first brand new car, a Chevy Blazer, badass Blazer. It was 4-wheel drive, the small Blazers.
Mm-hmm.
It was so cool. Had the CD player built in.
Oh.
It was in the dashboard.
Multi-disc or just the one disc?
No, this is 93 or 94, so it was still the single. But yeah, so listen to it. And also similar in the effect of singing the harmonies, because I couldn't hit the Lane Staley notes.
Mm.
He was way up there just screaming and just, I can't sound like that. But the Cantrell parts.
But you could hit those fourths
I could hit
and those
some of those.
fifths.
Yeah. And so I think I also inadvertently learned some harmonies by singing the lower parts, which I could hit kind of, sort of. So yeah, that's still great memories of that, because that's when I was really learning to play the guitar. I had taken classes in college, but I was just repeating what they had taught me. And by now, it was like feeling the guitar is crossing that line into understanding.
And you're singing, too.
And I'm singing.
Yeah.
And so that was that real fun time as far as my guitar times.
Right.
Not fun because I lived in Daytona Beach, which was a hellhole. Meth heads everywhere. I didn't even know what meth heads were, but they were there.
They're still there.
Yeah, they're still there.
Well, let me give you a little history on Alice in Chains, and then we'll get into this. So, obviously, American band formed in Seattle in 1987. Originally, they were a glam metal band named Alice in Chains, with an N, kind of like Guns N' Roses. And the name actually was a play on Alice in Wonderland. They just thought it would be cool. Put her in bondage.
Bondage, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. You know, it was kind of glam metal cool in a way.
Yeah.
Alice in Chains. The original guitarist was not Jerry Cantrell, it was Nick Pollock. And we're going to talk about him later. Jerry saw Alice in Chains and became friends with Lane and then became his roommate. And the original band broke up. And Lane had a funk band, and Jerry went on to do another band.
Funk band?
He had a funk band.
I did not know this.
Which kind of, now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, well, they did have a lot of cool grooves in that, in their music too. So it kind of makes sense. So eventually, Jerry got Lane to be in his band, and they were bouncing around different names. Before they decided to pull back the Alice in Chains name, they were called Fuck. And
because that's easy to market.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that one wouldn't have gone very far.
Yeah,
but
you can't even block half of it out. Coming up this weekend at the arena, it's fuck.
So Lane actually reached out to his old bandmates to see if he could use the name. And Nick Pollock, who I said we're going to talk about later, he wasn't that happy about it, but he, what was he going to do? So they became Alice in Chains, the second version of that band. And obviously they became a global sensation in the 90s. The story is, they're part of the big four of grunge bands. They basically altered the state of rock and roll, or the music establishment, in the 90s. They were one of the bands that did that. They sold more than 30 million records worldwide and over 20 million in the U.S. alone. They have, 18 top 10 songs on Billboard's mainstream rock tracks, 5 number one hits, and they received 11 Grammy nominations. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized, of course they're a huge band. Of course they're very influential, but I never knew they had all those awards and things. But the band came to a halt in the late 90s due to Lane's heroin addiction and ultimately his death in 2002. But they were revived in 2006 with an Atlanta native, William Duvall, on vocals and guitar.
We've seen that version.
Well, you saw them. I haven't seen them. You saw them with Cindy, didn't you?
Oh, that's right. It was Cindy. I thought you were there.
That was a good show, right?
And I've seen Cantrell solo.
I've seen Cantrell several times.
I think Music Midtown was one of those.
Yep, which is kind of like seeing Allison James.
Yeah, it's similar.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about their sound a little bit, because this is really what makes them unique. They are labeled as a grunge band, but they've also been described as just metal or alternative metal, sludge metal, doom metal, hard rock. I mean, they started off as a glam band and eventually they became their own thing. Really, they're the most unique of all of the grunge bands, in my opinion.
Yes.
They take lots of cues from Sabbath, and then they add, here's the word, groove and swagger. So maybe it's a little bit of that funk background. I don't know. They add that to the rhythms. The bass and drum work, amazing in all their albums. But the thing that stands out, we've already mentioned it, is the dissonant harmony singing on top of the music. And Lane and Jerry together is like the special sauce that makes Alice in Chains what they were. The harmonies often have parallel motion. So they'll sing thirds and fifths and they'll move in parallel with those. It's quite unique harmony singing. It's not like your normal, like I'm going to go an octave or I'm going to be this part of the chord. They kind of go up and down with fifths.
And I think a lot of people that really aren't musicians or don't sing think harmonies are always fixed and it's just a certain distance above.
Yeah.
But when you adjust that, and it adds a haunting quality to most of their songs. Some of their songs were more upbeat, but the vast majority had something deep to them, and those harmonies just brought it together in a way that was different than everybody else.
And it was dark.
Like
all their music was dark, but it was still poppy. Like it was still singable, and the tune stayed in your head. And then the other thing that set them apart, and a lot of the grunge bands did it, but they had unique releases that were acoustic EPs. Like in between the first and second album, they had Sap. It was a acoustic EP. Nobody was doing that at that time. And then they put out the Jar of Flies album, which went on to sell millions of records as well. And that was just an EP of acoustic stuff as well. And then at the end of their kind of career with Lane, they did MTV Unplugged, which that was his final performance with them. And if you go watch that...
Oh, was it? I didn't know that.
He's wearing gloves, I think, to hide...
all the track marks.
All the stuff that was going on with him, and he just looks so frail.
Oh, yeah.
But man, his voice is still there. He could still sing his ass off.
He was singing what he was living. And that's what, and you kind of knew it back then. We didn't know he was going to die, but you knew by that point, it was public knowledge.
They
he was fighting some demons.
They named the album Dirt, which is smack, right?
Yeah.
That's talking about heroin. Every song on that album is about heroin.
Yeah.
So he was, very upfront with what he was dealing with, and that's ultimately what got him. Let's talk about their influence. I think a lot of people are going to see this and go, this is probably the easiest in the shadow of that you could possibly do, because they sort of created a genre and it was followed and mimicked by tons of bands. So you could make the claim that anything that's post-grunge were clones of Alice in Chains. So Godsmack, Days of the New, Stained, Stone Sour, Alter Bridge, Chafel, Taproot, Breakin' Benjamin. I can go on and on. Now, the funny thing about that is, and I kind of saw it in your face at the same time, I don't like any of those bands.
Not
a single one.
Not a damn one of those. Because I was going, what the hell? Where are you going with this?
Every single one of those bands, they're following the blueprint that AIC laid, but they all come across as ingenuine to me.
Yeah.
It's all just formulaic. And, if you're a fan of those bands, great. I don't get it. It doesn't do anything for me. We're not playing any of those bands.
Thank you.
And I remember thinking when STP first came out, I thought they were Alice in Chains clones, because that first STP album sounds very similar to Alice in Chains, but then they became their own thing. I love Stone Temple Pilots, but that first album, it's a little Alice in Chains sounding. But they were just on that same path, I think. So I'm not going to play any of those bands. I'm not going to play any of the offshoots like Mad Season or Jerry's solo albums.
Because if we did, you wouldn't hear this episode.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
Yeah. What I'm going to play, again, these are bands that I feel have a genuine essence of the vibe that was Alice in Chains and still is Alice in Chains. It's amazing that when William Duvall came in, that he was able to kind of embody the spirit of Lane, yet still take them to a new and different place while still maintaining that Alice in Chains sound.
We still get to hear him live.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really good. So these are bands, again, same wavelengths, same approach, same style, but not copycats. So let's get into the first one, a band I discovered recently. This is so weird how I discovered this band. I was trying to find out about one of the Nawalker bands that we love, that we've played several times from Australia, called Truck.
Yeah.
We've played them 3 times on the show, and every time we played them, I go, I read they're going to have a new album out soon. They still don't have a new album out, so I was going to their site, and
you're going to send them a message going,
I was going to say, it's
get
time.
Your shit together.
Aussie gentlemen, it's time. But no, of course, I go to their Facebook. I didn't see anything on their site. I go to their Facebook, and same thing. It's coming out in 25.
Soon. Yeah.
Coming out in 25. Until then, you can come see us at these shows. And they listed the shows, and they said, one that we're playing that we have to cancel is we're not going to be able to play the Cicada Stone show.
The what?
Cicada Stone. One word. And I was like, what the hell is that?
It's a bug and a stone.
I don't know. But I'm like, what is that? You can't play their show. Cicada Stone is a band.
Oh.
From Melbourne.
Oh.
And I guess they were having a record release show, and Truck was supposed to play with them, and they had to pull out for whatever reason. But it got me going down the rabbit hole of, what is this Cicada Stone? Well, what I found out is 2 albums later, after I downloaded them, they're a really good band that has very, very similar vibes to Alice in Chains. They're like the Australian Alice in Chains. And it's a band formed in 2013 in Melbourne by 2 brothers, Matt and Mark Robbins. They're on Golden Robot Records, which we've played a lot of bands on that label. It's a really good label for rock music now. And we're going to hear what they sound like. They're somewhere between the 90s and now without having that active rock stigma that you and I don't care for.
No.
So here's a little Cicada Stone from their 2021 album, the song called Dime a Dozen.
All of a sudden, don't underestimate this now. The same horizon, no motivation, a misery that suits their style. We'll see it coming, this never ending, a token taken with a smile. They'll never hurt us, a sucker born every mile. Just learn the lesson, a tell-all confession, old secrets messing with our minds. Keep open-minded, but always blinded. This chemistry is broken down. Taken with a smile. When in doubt.
listen to that all day.
That's why I have 2 of their albums now.
I got to start downloading some stuff. That right there. So Friday night, or now Saturday morning after the party is winding down. You just threw a big party. You're exhausted. I don't know how many times you've been through that, but it's... I just assume everybody does this.
Yeah, I'm thinking me throwing a party, not very often.
You've been to some good parties. So imagine, throwing a party such as this where they show up the day before to set up. It's a lot going on. You're talking to 75 people want to come up and talk to you, and it's cool. You're having a great time.
That also has never happened, but go ahead.
You've played big shows. People come up to you after the show, and you're kind of in that high.
They just asked me where Elizabeth is.
Well, thank you. They would come up to me and ask me if you were dating anyone.
Oh,
imagine being the lead singer. The hot chicks come up to you and say, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey," and they're like, "Yeah, your bass player, is he?" I'm like, he's married. Get out. Anyway, so yeah, it was like 2:45 in the morning. We're wrapping up, and everybody's gone. Last person there, I think, it was Mary, and she just comes up and gives me a hug. We're both exhausted, but she just gives me that warm hug. Like you did something. You're exhausted, your brain's melted, but it's just that warm hug at the end of a crazy party. And that's that Alice in Chains feel is that hug. It's like, okay.
It's dark but warm.
It's dark but warm. It's like blues music is sad, but it makes you happy.
Right. It makes you feel good.
Alice in Chains is that band that is dark, much darker than I've ever dealt with. I mean, I've had times when I wasn't happy, but I was not dealing with a heroin addiction. It was just
not quite the same.
I just wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I knew there was better things in store for me, and I was just angst ridden to move on. So during this time period, like I said, entire year living in Daytona and not being able to make friends, it was a weird existence there. It was just a dark time for me, even though it was you think Daytona Beach, Florida.
Right.
Hey, this is
supposed to be a
spring
happy fun
break.
time.
Yeah, no, it was horrible. So that in that period of time, it was that real exploration of learning to play the guitar at a different level. Nirvana didn't do that for me. Nirvana was the band that kicked everybody out of the way. And when everybody, I mean hair bands.
Yep.
They kicked them out of the way. It was fun to play Teen Spirit because that was easy to play. Bar chords, yeah. And then Alice in Chains steps in and like, oh no, here's some emotion and play. And it's not just the harmonies we talked about. It's Jerry Cantrell's guitar. There was the lilting, crying, wailing guitar that went with the vocals. It's not just the vocals.
Maybe one of the last true guitar heroes, Jerry Cantrell.
Yeah,
he doesn't get recognized as that, but man, his guitar playing is so influential. What did you think of Cicada Stone?
So that brought all that back because I could listen to that, and it wasn't somebody ripping off Alice in Chains, but it was just right along the same track, very parallel to that. They did it well.
And I think so this album came out in 2021. They didn't even put their band together until 2013. So obviously they're influenced by all this stuff. To me, they're perfectly slotted Alice in Chains. There's a lot of Stone Temple Pilots vibe to the singing as well. And then the harmonies are so prevalent everywhere. Like they never sing individually. There's always a harmony. Both albums that I have is all harmonies. And it really reminds me of Galactic Cowboys. So I actually sent a message to Monty, and I said, "Hey Monty, I don't know if you know this band from Melbourne, Australia, but methinks they might be Galactic Cowboy fans. You should check them out." So he said he was going to check them out, but then we got the bad news, so don't know where that is. But anyway, not trying to bring us down, but
we're already there. We're
already there.
We're talking about Alice in Chains.
Yeah. So let's move into song number 2, which I picked a song by this band, and this is really funny because we played this band as part of another In the Shadow Of episodes. We've only had 3.
Yeah.
And here is a repeat band who has a direct connection to Typo Negative. Ooh. It's a band from Brooklyn, New York. The band was formed in 2010 by Sal Abruscato, the former drummer for Typo Negative.
I remember that, yeah.
And Life of Agony. This is A Pale Horse Named Death.
Ooh, yeah, definitely remember that.
Yeah, you definitely remember them, and we've played them several times. So Sal moved into playing guitar and singing and writing the songs in A Pale Horse Named Death instead of being behind the drum throne. And what he did was he took Type O music and mixed it with his love of Alice in Chains music and came up with this unique thing that is A Pale Horse Named Death. And we're going to play a song that is very lane appropriate called Heroin Train. Wrote about the same stuff. I think Type O we're dealing with some of the same demons.
Yeah. Thankfully, I've never gotten on that train.
Yeah, it's not a train I want to be on as well. But if we're going to connect them to Alice in Chains, it makes sense to play this song. So this is from the first album that they put out. They have 4 out. And he's no longer doing this band. I think he's moved on to another band now called King of the Locust. But I haven't heard what their new music sounds like. A Pale Horse Named Death, 4 albums. I highly recommend them. This is from the first one from 2011 called And Hell Will Follow Me. This is Heroin Drain.
I wonder whose inspiration for that was. The vocals on that were a little different than the actual Alice in Chains, but it was close, and it reminded me a little bit of Godsmack.
Really?
And some of their other, not their big hit, but some of their other songs, they had some real dissonant harmonies.
Yeah.
I'm not the one that's so... Isn't that Godsmack?
I don't know.
Hated it.
I can't tell you. I don't listen to that shit.
You don't listen to that shit?
No.
Actually, they're okay with me as far as that.
I actually saw
metal.
them. I saw them
some of
live.
the
Their first. I saw them on a club. They were opening for Push Monkey, which is a band I love.
I remember that. I remember.
And Godsmack opened, and they were brand new. I mean, brand new to me.
Yeah.
They'd been playing, I think, the Boston scene for a while, but they were newly signed and had just released their first album. They didn't even have a hit yet, and I saw them
Maybe
open.
they just needed to practice a little bit more.
It's not my thing.
Not your thing. It was okay, but yes, the guitar playing, though, was spot on. And that gets us back to That's All Jerry Cantrell.
Yeah.
The way he can just squeeze the emotion out of a guitar.
And just the influence. I mean, he took Tony Iommi and just made it jerried.
Jerry-rigged it.
He jerry-rigged it. Exactly. Yeah, Pale Horse Named Death, it's, you know, you're going to get that mixed with kind of the gothy doom metal that
And that's how I got introduced to them. You played them. I went and pulled a bunch of their songs, and the closer that it was to Type O, the more I liked it.
Right. But Alice in Chains is definitely the other side of them, of what they were trying to do. And
the other band from that episode, Marble Orchard, they got a new album out.
They do have a new album coming out, or it may already be out.
It's out.
Is it out?
I like it.
Yeah, it's good. They sent me an advanced copy of that. It's very good.
You should listen.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
All right, so we mentioned that Alice in Chains did an awesome job of doing acoustic albums and doing acoustic interpretations of their own songs, as well as just writing new songs that were acoustic based. And they did the MTV Unplugged thing, and that's kind of where this next tune's going to flow, is into that same space. And I'm going to play an acoustic song from a band that has been called the feminine version of Alice in Chains.
Alice herself.
This was Alice. But before we get into this, I do need you to remove your horn helmet for the national anthem, please.
Messes up my hair. Horse and smears. Boars and smear me's. Pork.
Yes. A Swedish band for us. Some Viking ladies who were called the female version of Alice in Chains. It's a all-female group from Stockholm, Sweden, formed in 1993. They only released 2 full-length albums and an EP. Everywhere else around the globe, they're known as Drain. But here in North America, there was already a band called Drain, so we know them as...
Drain-O.
Drain is not Drain-O.
Oh, okay. There's already a product named that.
Yes, there's a product named that. No,
Don't drink it.
Drain STH for Stockholm. Drain STH. You ever remember hearing of this band?
No.
So they gained some popularity in the States due to their appearances on the side stage at the Ozfest in 97 and 99. So remember the whole Ozfest thing went around for, I don't know, seemed like 10 years.
10 years. I think it was around 10.
So the lead vocalist of this band, Maria...
Go for it. Just go for
it.
Commit.
Sojon. She happens to be the wife of one Tony Iommi.
Oh, Mrs. Iommi.
Mrs. Iommi.
That's easier to say.
Yes. This band also toured with Type O Negative, Corrosion of Conformity, Machine Head, Megadeth, and Godsmack. Oh, and of course they toured with Black Sabbath as well in the 90s.
Convenient.
How convenient. But they earned it because they're badasses. And the one album that I have is called Horror Wrestling. And when they re-released it, it came out in 98. Yeah, Horror
Best
Wrestling.
Of both worlds. It's like
what more do you need, really?
The same exact crowd.
Exactly.
Like you throw in some Dungeons and Dragons and everybody
and podcasting.
I'm out.
And Kiss.
Oh, fuck that.
Oh, I said it. Kiss.
Kiss.
Oh, the dog.
Yeah, he
just doesn't care.
He's desensitized.
It's not even a Kiss. It's not even a proper Kiss connection, is it, Ronnie James?
You just accidentally said the word.
Oh, well. Yes, Drain STH from Horror Wrestling, the one I have. When they re-released this thing digitally, it had a acoustic version of one of their songs, and it just hit me like, wow, they really did embody that whole Alice in Chains spirit, and especially that kind of jar of flies kind of vibe with this song, Serve the Shame.
Into the shell, wrangle up.
remind you of Goodbye Blue Sky?
A little bit, yeah.
A
little bit.
Loved it. And that just shows the other side of Alice in Chains, the melodic side, that, I don't know, I think that gets underrated to some extent because of all the big hits that get played on the radio. That's the first thing people think of. But Jar of Flies, Wailing Wasp, how beautiful that song is.
Yeah.
So my opinion is they have one of the heavy songs and one of the most melodic songs. Wood, to me,
God, so good.
And it's hard to explain why. I think it goes from 0 to 100 from verse to chorus. But then the end when it builds and then it just changes again, and that just Lane's voice with the heavy guitars on it. I've always considered that heavy. Of course, there's metal songs that are heavy, but they seem to be heavy just because they've turned everything up. There's just
they've tried the speed route. There's something
Yeah.
about having something slowed down that's
Yes.
even heavier, which is why
Exactly.
doom metal is a thing,
Yeah.
right? Black Sabbath kind of created it. Alice in Chains kind of took it back. Everything was, if you think about when they came out and kind of took on the scene, everything was thrash. You know, that was heavy.
Oh, God,
it was
yeah,
all about being
91,
faster and
92,
faster and
yeah.
faster. And then they kind of brought it back to, and Pantera would be the other band that kind of brought it back down and said, you don't have to make it all fast all the time. You can kind of bring it down, and that makes it even heavier with the breakdowns.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that SAP and Jar of Flies and MTV Unplugged, I listen to those albums probably more than I listen to Dirt and Facelift.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
they just did acoustics so well, and it didn't come across as these are just interpretations of our songs on acoustic. It comes across as its own thing.
Those were easier for me to play back then because I lived in an apartment. And when I played electric, I would try to time it when my neighbors were gone so I didn't piss everybody off because it's hard to play electric quiet. I still have that problem. I can't play electric quiet, which is why I have hearing loss. Well, I still turn it up, but back then I didn't have that ability. I just had crappy amp. But yeah, going back to Drain, I just took an online test and I officially have Stockholm Syndrome.
I like that.
I looked them up. They are online. They're easy to listen to.
Yeah, they were attractive Swedish.
Well, of course, they're
women.
Swedish. Yeah, I mean, what band from Sweden have we played that's not that way? I mean, I don't think there's been a
beautiful Viking people.
Exactly. Yes.
And they definitely. This could have been, if you hear Lane and Jerry singing this instead of them, it could have been like the hidden track on Jar of Flies.
Yes.
It just comes across that way.
Back when they had hidden tracks.
But all right, well, let's move on because I want to get into the next band that was sent to us by the one, the only Captain Content.
Captain Content!
Just last year.
Just
good
last
Captain.
year. Nothing like being topical.
Yes. Now, you sent me this band. I checked out. It was a link. And you said, check this band out. And I checked it out. And I immediately pre-ordered the EP because I heard the one song like, oh, this is cool because it's a brand new band.
If your wife looks at the credit card invoice, just blame me.
I did.
Like Robert's making me buy all these.
I billed it to Captain Content.
LLC.
But you sent me this band as a brand new band, a young group of guys who are called Embassy Row.
Yeah.
And they basically do just like Cicada Stone. It's kind of a newer band doing kind of a nod to 90s grunge. And I don't know if this is a new movement or not, but I dig it because I'm starting to find bands that are new to grunge music because they're too young to have gone through the period themselves.
Sit down. You're too young. You don't know what you're talking
about. But they do this music really well. Now, this band, they're originally from D.C., but now they're based in New York City. And I went to look up if they had a new album coming out or something. They put out an EP last year. And it looks like they have changed their name. When you go to their Facebook, it says Scarhaven, but it's from the Embassy Row website. But even on the website, it says Scarhaven and then Embassy Row. So I think they've changed their name.
They're just doing a slow change.
Yeah, so
everybody knows about it.
A morph. So the band, formerly known as Embassy Row, that's who we're going to play. And not every song has Alice in Chains vibes, but they all have like a 90s grunge vibe. So they obviously are just fans of the genre and listen to it. And so certain songs have a little more of a Soundgarden kind of feel to it. Others are different. But I just love the fact that there's a band of young guys who are doing this music. And I'm going to play the song that I think reminds me the most of an Alice in Chains kind of sound. This is Volition from Dreamlier 2024.
Oh, yeah. Definitely like that. It had that in that middle part when it got really heavy, kind of that filter, nice shot.
It's exactly what I thought of too. There's a lot of filter in there.
But as soon as I started thinking about that, I couldn't help but notice that his vocals, it seemed like he was holding back. He kind of laid back with the vocals, even though the music's just throbbing. He kind of held back. That I was looking for that guttural scream, release at the end of it. Let it fly, man. So I don't know. Somebody get his phone number. Let me call him. I'll talk to him. I'll give him some advice.
Young band, they're still figuring it out.
Let them go back and re-record that last part.
Yeah.
Look, I'll chip in $50.
Now, do you remember sending this to me?
Probably. I mean, this particular song, I don't remember. I remember the name of the band.
You remember Embassy Row?
Embassy Row, yeah.
Because I just remember going,
yeah.
How did he find this? You don't remember, I assume.
No, God, no. It's late night scrolling through stupid videos and something pops up and then I click on it and then I got to download the virus software again.
But brand new, exactly. Brand new music, young band, heavy 90s vibes and definite influence from Alice in Chains and Filter. I heard the Filter in there as well, which is cool. Okay, next up is a band from LA that were peers of Alice in Chains. So doing their thing at the same time, not STP. They were where were they from? San Diego? Something like that. They were from the West Coast, but they weren't from Seattle.
They weren't Seattle, yeah. I
think they were California based. But here's a band from LA around the same time that came out. And we've actually played this band before, but we played them on episode 203, Further Sounds from Outer Space.
Ooh, yeah.
So oddly, this band is somewhere between space rock and grunge.
There's a lot of room between space rock and grunge.
Probably one of the only ones.
Two different time zones away from each other.
So I'll tell you how this kind of plays out. So they were formed in 1990. Their name is Failure. I don't know if you remember us playing Failure, but...
I'm familiar with Failure, but not the
band. Touche. All right. So formed in 1990. They signed to Slash Records, which is the same label that Guns N' Roses were on first before Geffen got them. So they signed to Slash in 1992, and they recorded their first album with Steve Albini, somebody we've talked about on this program as well. And they absolutely hate that album. They did not have a good experience with Steve because we talked about how he could be a little ornery sometimes.
Like, just hit play.
And,
just play the song.
Apparently they didn't like the output of their first album. However, it gave them the option to go on tour, their first tour, with their buddies from LA, Tool.
Oh, I was going to say, that's the other band that has some really good dissonant harmonies. I'm not an expert on Tool. I know I'm going to get my ass kicked by a number of people that are just rabid fans. That's one of those bands that
I do love Tool, though.
I like them. I'm not in that camp that just worships them.
Yeah.
But there's room. There might be a time where I get into them even more.
My God, if you haven't heard their latest album that came out 2 years ago, wow, is it impressive.
Okay.
It's one of those you got to be like
in the mood
somewhere where you can just chill, just like not be, you got to be in a zone.
All right, so don't play this while I'm in the workshop.
Yeah, well, it might actually work. It might actually work.
That's where the PA system is going.
Yeah, well, I think you should.
I think
that's the excellent place to play because it's just going to put you in a mood. And I don't know why I'm talking about Tool, but because this band toured with them, but a young version of Tool. So we're talking 1992. Tool when they're first coming out as well, and they only have Opiate out, and they're getting ready to put the album that put them on the map out. So they're kind of part of the new alternative metal scene, this band Failure, and they go and they release 2 more albums on Slash in the 90s, and then they kind of end their first run as a band in 97. They were part of the last traveling version of Lollapalooza in the 90s. If you remember, the festival started in 1991 or 90 or 91. I think it was 90. No, it must have been 91. I was in college. It must have been 91. And it traveled. Now it stays put. Now it's just in Chicago and certain places.
It came to your city.
It did. It came to your city. And so this band was on the side stage, but then that same year, Korn was on the main stage, and they had to drop out because of an illness. And so then Failure were doing both side stage and the main stage, which is
that's kind of
pretty damn cool.
Yeah. Didn't you? What were you playing with the Swear, the side stage at? It wasn't Lollapalooza.
Midtown.
No, it was
the Vans Warped Tour.
Warped Tour. Sorry, I got that mixed up.
Yeah, we did that like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, you played on a side stage, and there was like a fold-out platform from a truck.
It was a truck. It was a truck bed that folded out.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was cool.
I want one.
It was very cool. The first time we played the Vans Warped Tour, it was in a tent that was on the blacktop. It was so damn hot.
Georgia in the summertime.
Always in August.
Yeah, August, which is the worst part of the summertime here. It's just stifling hot.
In a parking lot.
In a parking lot. Yeah, that's a great idea.
So hot. Yeah, but then we moved into that stage, and we did that one a couple of times.
Yeah, that was fun.
On that side stage. It was really
I was
cool.
guitar tech.
You were
for
the driver and
guitar tech, yes.
Yep.
Keeper of the van.
We were sweaty messes. Okay, anyway, this band Failure, after they did the Lollapalooza thing in 97, they kind of ceased to exist. But they reemerged in 2013, and they kind of went down the space rock path. So they always kind of had it.
Yeah.
But they were more
just
grunge in the
embraced
90s, and then they just, with their older age, they were like, yeah, we're just going to do the spacey thing. So they kind of did the floaty,
I gotta hear this.
spacey thing. So 90s, definitely more grunge than space, but they still have those elements in this sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to play a song from their album that came out in 1994. Again, these were guys putting out albums at the same time, but they definitely have the same kind of vibe and feel that Alice in Chains had, although they didn't have quite the harmonies that Lane and Jerry had. But here's Failure from Magnified. This is Let It Drip.
I think it was a little more to the alternative side of grunge versus the metal side of grunge. But I just looked them up on Spotify, and their most popular song with 15 million listens, Another Space Song. So I'm assuming that's from the later album, unless they just named it that. And it's, I don't know. I just looked it up.
It was there in the 90s albums too. And they would have these little interludes in between songs that were very space rocky.
I didn't see it on the early albums, but I wasn't, I was trying to listen and research at the same time, but you know me.
Still around, Failures, they're just a damn good band.
Yeah, that's good.
And that riff, as soon as it starts off, I'm like, is that Jerry playing?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like a Jerry riff.
You were right. The music is spot on, but the songs, the music, I mean, excuse me, the lyrics and the vocals are missing. Just
not quite Alice in Chains.
Just need a little harmony out there to sound more like them.
Yeah, but it definitely the same vibe.
It holds its own.
Yeah, same vibe. Okay, next up, this is so weird, but this is another band that we played on our last In the Shadow of. So episode 252, another band that has a connection to Typo Negative.
They love Life in the Shadows.
Apparently. And apparently there's more to Typo Negative and Alice in Chains sound
crossover
that we didn't think about until I started putting this together. But this is an American doom metal band composed of vocalist, guitarist Kenny Hickey and drummer Johnny Kelly, formerly of Typo Negative.
I was going to say, this sounds familiar.
The guitarist Matt Brown, who also played in A Pale Horse Named Death. And we've already played them. But they put out this album as a band called Seventh Void. We played this on our last In the Shadow Of. Mm-hmm. Their debut album, Heaven Is Gone, was released in 2009 on Vinnie Paul's label called Big Vin Records. So Vinnie Paul from Pantera. They put this out while Typo Negative was officially still around. Mm-hmm. Peter died in 2010, but I don't think they ever officially broke up.
Yeah, just kind of.
But Peter was dealing with things, and so they went and did this. They
Much like Lane.
Yeah,
but
exactly
not specifically the same, but different things.
Yeah, exactly right. So they formed this band Seventh Void, and then they got a different guitarist a couple of years later, and they decided that this band didn't sound enough like Typo Negative. They wanted to go down that path again, and they reemerged now as a band called Silvertomb. It's the same band, but they dropped the Seventh Void thing and became Silvertomb. And I said before, I feel like Silvertomb is not nearly as Typo Negative as this band is. That's the story. So I actually think that Seventh Void also is very Alice in Chains sounding, and I'm going to play a song now and you tell me. But this, again, from the 2009 debut, only album from Seventh Void. Here's a song called Shadow on Me.
Make the sun
Some good shit, right?
Damn, that's good shit. I was like, Alice in Chains decided to be a stoner metal band.
Yeah.
It just slowed it down, just past grunge. It's just dirty.
Came out in 2009. That is Kenny Hickey, the guitarist from Typo Negative singing, and he sounds like Lane.
Which is why they were such a damn good band. All that talent was there. You were all focused on, obviously,
Peter.
The 6'12". How tall was he? 6'13" or something?
6'8", something
6'8".
like that.
Yeah, we were kind of focused on him. But all these guys behind him were just full of talent too. So that was a great example of what we've been talking about, how you slow it down, you make it even heavier. I mean, so much space in that you could just feel everything coming through the speakers.
So they actually formed this band, this project, in 2003. It lasted until 2017, and they only put out this one album.
Don't rush it, Kevin. They're doing their best they can.
Well,
you know?
I mean, they had to mourn the loss of Peter
exactly.
and all that. They had stuff going on.
Took a few years. They probably had to do their taxes or something, you know.
It's so weird that they decided to, get back to doing the gothic metal thing. And Silvertomb doesn't sound nearly as I like it. But it doesn't sound nearly as good as this.
I'll listen to it. We'll report back.
Yeah, report back. But this album,
that's everybody's homework tonight.
You can't go wrong with this album. It's so good.
Not Silver Chair, Silvertomb.
Silvertomb. That's the new band.
Tune or Tomb?
Tomb
with a B.
With the B.
Oh, okay. Tomb.
Yes. Okay, I have one more for you.
Good, because I got to get second dinner. My second dinner did not last very long.
Okay.
So
is it third dinner?
Well, it's second dinner part 2 /
third
late
dinner.
night snack. It's merging into late night snack time now. Yeah, but I timed it wrong and it had soup for second dinner. And you know how
I did see you eat the soup.
Soup lasts like 30 minutes. I'm starving again.
Yes. So I mentioned earlier in the program we were going to talk about Nick Pollock, who was the original guitarist from Alice in Chains. At one point, they had a Z instead of an S, too.
Oh,
Alice in Chains.
So 80s, yes. Off the chains.
So we're going to play Nick's band after he broke up the original Alice in Chains.
Yeah, I've heard clips of the hair Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
But
you've probably heard them with Jerry.
Well, I've heard of that, but the hairy version, it's low quality audio on YouTube, but you get a sense of, it's amazing to think, oh my God, this is Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Very different. And a very healthy Lane Staley, if you look at the video, super healthy looking. Man, what drugs do to you?
So, first of all, smoking's bad. You shouldn't smoke. And alcohol is bad. You shouldn't drink alcohol. And as for drugs, well, drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs, okay?
Yeah, tell me about it.
Okay.
So anyway, we're going to focus on Nick's band, and we've played them before as well. We played them on one of our Beneath the Grunge episodes, one of the first 2 or 3. And the name of his band is My Sister's Machine. They're somewhere on the banner over there near you. And very, very good band. They definitely have similarities to Alice in Chains, and it makes sense. Lane and this guy Nick wrote songs together for a long time before that version of the band broke up, and then so it only makes sense that they would have some similarities. Now, when they were writing songs together, though, they were doing the 80s metal thing, so they were doing the glam metal thing, but this has a little bit of that, but it definitely mixes in that sludgy 70s vibe that Alice in Chains had as well. His vocals, again, these guys were together learning how to sing and learning how to play when they were young, so it makes sense that they sound similar, but they sound similar. It's almost freaky. Critics seem to like this band when they came out, and they compared them to other Seattle bands, but this band never made it out of Seattle, unfortunately. They did tour with Pantera and White Zombie and King's X, so they had some good times.
Yeah.
It just didn't quite catch on. They've got 2 albums. They have one in 1992 and then another one in 1994. I'm going to play from the debut album called Diva. Here's a song called Wasting Time. Again, this is the former guitarist of Alice in Chains, the original guitarist of the first version of Alice in Chains.
Die and the
I got a visual early in that song, and I couldn't shake the whole. Glenn Danzig sings Alice in Chains. He's got that.
He had a little bit of that, yeah.
And so every time he did that, I'm like, oh God, no.
He doesn't quite have the range that
that
Lane did, right?
Bless his heart.
He was trying though.
He
you
was
could
trying.
tell. I mean, this came out in 1992. It was released the same year as Dirt.
Yeah. And so you got to think, if you're a record company and Alice in Chains is out there, and from the same area, similar,
Seattle
very
sound.
similar. Do you take a risk on that? But at the time, they were signing anybody out in the suburbs of Seattle. 100 miles from Seattle, you still would get signed.
But this is really like right as that starting. I don't think this was a band that was. They were part of the scene.
Yeah,
they
so
were already there. It's not like they were trying to capitalize.
If it was 94,
on
95, then it would have been like, okay,
if it were a year later, I would say, yeah, you're probably right. But
so they weren't.
No, this is the
they
same
had
exact
name,
time.
Connection to a band that was hitting big. Yeah, maybe it should have been huge, but I don't know about huge, but should have been known.
Yeah, known is it should have at least made it
percolated up there a little bit
onto the B or C list, which they didn't.
That's crazy.
But you can definitely tell the songwriting between friends at one point in time,
and that was great. All that was good. I enjoyed the structure of the song, everything. The music was great. It was missing a little more Cantrell, a little more Staley. Like if you just bumped a little bit of that up, either way, they would have been very similar.
Well, I thought the use of the wah. I mean, Jerry did that a lot on those first two Alice in Chains albums as well.
He kind of brought that back because grunge, solos and things like that kind of went away for a little bit. And then,
that's why I was saying he's the last guitar hero because he was really the only guitar hero from that. I mean, I guess the guys in Pearl Jam were pretty damn good. Mike McCready's pretty damn awesome, but I don't know, something about Jerry was unique.
Yeah.
Whereas the other guys were kind of riffing on,
but then after,
even Cornell
after 2000, all the power pop, the punk pop and all that, their thing, Blink 182, no solo.
Yeah, it was more melodic, if anything.
Yeah, so after that, the guitar heroes all gets into the crap that we new metal, and they all do shredding, but it's not this. It's all just crap. It's just crap.
Wow, you're just like an old angry dude.
I am, man.
Ornery, angry old man.
Say horny? What?
Ornery.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Well, maybe horny. I don't know. I wasn't at your party. I'm assuming you were.
I forgot to tell you, at the flamenco show, it's also a very good-looking crowd. Like both of these events pulled like I said, excluding me and one of the musicians.
Come on now.
At the intermission, very attractive older lady. When I say older lady, she was a few years older than me. Because my taste is
82?
skewed downward. I've been dating 30-somethings for the past 20 years.
That's what you like about getting older. They just
keep staying. Yeah. Anyway,
I screwed that up.
Yeah, it's something people know what we're saying. But she walks up, she starts talking with this lovely accent, and she's from Belarus.
Oh, I thought you were going to say.
I've never met anybody from
French
Belarus. Lady. No, that would have been fine too. And so we're talking during the entire intermission, and she invites me to go to Italy with her.
What the hell did you just say?
And when are you leaving?
I need to check my passport. I think I need to update that. But other than that, I'm like, what the hell?
She's got a friend who needs a kidney.
Yeah, she says Italy. I wake up in Belarus in some Russian prison. Why is there ice in the bathtub? Why does my back hurt?
Why am I holding a burner phone? I don't remember having this.
But if you're going to go out, I'm okay with that. At this point, I wouldn't want it when I was 22, but at this point, if I go out with a story like that, I'd be like, thank you very much. Good night.
Why not?
Good night. Why not?
Well, speaking of going out, that's what I got for you this week. Like I said, not all of these bands were copycats of Alice in Chains, but they definitely had the vibe, and some influence was there, perhaps, or some camaraderie. Is that the word?
Yeah, sure. That's a word.
That's a word.
It's a long word.
It's very good.
It's French.
Maybe.
Camaraderie.
But that's what I got for you. Any other thoughts on Alice in Chains?
No, I loved every minute of that. That gives me a lot of material to listen to. Like I said, that PA system's going out out in my workshop because I'm sick and tired of Bluetooth speakers. I've yet to find a Bluetooth speaker that can match a decent PA system because none of them have good bass and they don't get loud enough. And you're working with power tools. It's a big workshop. I need some bass and some loudness.
You need to feel the music.
I need to feel the music.
Right.
So yeah, I'm sick and tired of it just washing out when you got a grinder in your hand.
Yeah. Hate when that happens.
Yeah, it just sucks. It takes the fun out of being in the shop.
So I thought it might be fun to do a play out of one of those old Alice in Chains songs from the 80s.
Oh.
So what do you think?
I think that's fitting.
I think it's appropriate.
Yeah.
So we're going to sign off here. And
devil horns back up again.
Maybe poof your hair up a little bit.
Yeah. Aquanet.
Get some of that aqua crotch that Kristen talks about.
Oh, God. You. Walk around with... Never mind.
Anyway, until next time, people.
See ya.
Later.
In the mirror, picture split in two. No, I can't believe you slipped away. I've been drinking too much 'cause I can't forget your face. And if I always try to do all the things you want me to, I've been laughing myself down to an early grave. And if I always try to do all the things you want me to, I've been laughing myself down to an early grave. Ooh, nothing stays the same. Ooh, in this game. I can't have you lose. I can't have you, nothing's the same. Need my fix of you. Well, when I was a kid, I'd take a trip every summer down to Mississippi, visit my granny in her antebellum world. I'd run barefooted all day long, climbing trees, free as a song. One day, I happened to catch myself a squirrel. Well, I stuffed him down in an old shoebox and punched a couple holes in the top. When Sunday came, I snuck him into church. I was sitting way back in the very last pew, showing him to my good buddy Hugh. When that squirrel got loose, went totally berserk. What happened next is hard to tell. Some thought it was heaven, thought it was hell, but the fact that something was among us was plain to see. As the choir sang, I surrender all, the squirrel ran up Harv Newland's coveralls, and Harv leaped to his feet and said, something's got a hold on me! Yeah! The day the squirrel went berserk in the first self-righteous church in that sleepy little town of Pascagoula. It was a fight for survival that broke out in revival. They were jumping the pews and shouting, hallelujah. Well, Harv hit the out dancing and screaming. Some thought he had religion, others thought he had a demon, and Harv thought he had a weed eater loose and he screwed the moon. He fell to his knees to